Boys and girls, this is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Larson. It's me, Dexter Loomis, NXT Superstar. So here's my shout out to the Going In Raw podcast. Clever name.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you'll be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We're going to do things a little bit different today. We're gonna start, and we'll see how it works out. If we like it, if we don't like it, if there's news on a Thursday morning, we might continue to do this. If not, we won't. No big deal. But we're gonna drop a little bit of a mini news brief, a news briefer here at the head of the show before we get into our NXT recap. Basically, because sometimes if there's news to talk about, we'll do that after the NXT recap. It doesn't go up to like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, to like Pacific time. So it's like, so we figure, hey, timeliness is everything. So let's just, if there's news, we'll put it at the head of this show, and then we'll do the NXT results. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can always skip ahead using the little chapter markers to the NXT recap if that's what you care about. If you're watching us in the audio realm, usually I will drop the same time codes in the description, so you can just go ahead to that. Over here in the Twitch chat, Kayla Vision, check her out at twitch.tv/Kayla Vision. Gifted a sub
thank you so much
to HBK9701. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you so much, Kayla.
So, Larson, as I usually ask on the news brief, what's in the news?
What's in the news? So, apparently the Undertaker isn't done with his kayfabe break-in press rounds as of yet, because he showed up on the Joe Rogan Experience yesterday and proceeded to call today's WWE soft.
Lord. Oh, my goodness.
Soft.
All right. Well, these transcripts come to you via Cage Side Seats.
All right, now read all this like the Undertaker.
Will you allow me? Okay, here we go. All right. I'll probably piss a lot of people off.
No, Mark Calloway. You got to do it like Mark Calloway, not like Undertaker.
I'll probably piss a lot of people off, but they need to hear it. It is what it is. But to the young guys, oh, he's a bitter old guy. I'm not bitter. I did my time. I'm good. I walked away when I wanted to walk away. I just think the product is a little soft. There's guys here and there that have an edge to them, but there's too much pretty and not enough substance. I think right now they're trying, and it's always been this way, but they're trying to put something out for everybody. When it's like some guys are into the comedy shit, and there's other guys that want to see the more hardcore top fighting. I think one of the big things that happened is that the generation before, we all got old at the same time, so there weren't enough guys to work with the young guys. We can sit and talk, and I can give you my theories on what you should do. You should do this, or maybe you should try this. But until you actually can get in the ring and actually do it, it doesn't really translate a lot of times. And then you also have too many people that they're on the internet. They're on the internet. It's a utility at this point. Okay, he continues. Well, these guys I'm just going to use my voice. Well, these guys on the internet say I'm pretty fucking good. It's like, okay, well, you can listen to them, or you can listen to somebody who's been there and done it. So I think there needed to, and you can't help it, but there was just not enough merging of the young and the new talent. I hung in there for a long time, but we kind of aged out, and then it just left all these young guys to learn with more young guys, and the product changed. The PC, the training center, is helping. We've got Triple H, a great wrestler. He heads that whole thing, and he's trying to get some of the toothpaste back in the tube. He's trying to move it back to kind of take a step back to move forward to give the product a little more edge. I think that's what it's missing. Hold on a second. Where's the part where he says men are men?
Oh, that was a different segment. It wasn't in this bit where he's talking about when he was entering the locker room for the first time. There was guys that had knives and guns in their bags, and
I want to talk about that. Well, you talk about what you got out of what he just said.
I mean, I know he just said, I don't think he sounds bitter. It just feels like this is another instance where an older wrestler of the industry is passing him by. Times change, people change. If you don't evolve with the times, you're going to be left behind. And there was a time, we've heard the Attitude Era, the locker room was filled with sharks, people politicking to get to the top of the card. Sure, politics are still part of the game, I'm sure, but it's not to the same degree. I feel like more often than not, backstage, it seems like everybody gets along. No one's trying to stab each other in the back. People are working for the common good. From a personally, I understand why, you want to be ambitious, do what you can to advance your own career. Personally speaking, I think it's kind of cool that there's not a whole lot of politicking backstage, people try to stab each other in the back. It's more of an atmosphere of, hey, let's work together to make the best product possible. I think that's awesome. I think it's just stuff moving forward, man.
So this was the quote that I really.
It doesn't seem like a safe work environment when you're walking in and half the people there are armed.
Okay, wait till I'm done with this quote because it's amazing.
Yeah, I know the quote.
In that era of guys, too, those were men. You go into a dressing room nowadays, and it's a lot different. I remember walking into my first real dressing room, and all I saw were some crusty fucking men. Half of them had guns and knives in their bags. Shit got handled back then. Now you walk in, there's guys playing video games and fucking making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just like those eras, man. I liked when men were men.
It always comes back to that, doesn't it? You're not a man unless you've got a fucking gun and a knife in your bag and you're
willing to use it to settle any petty little dispute. That's the thing.
And your heart explodes by the time you're 45 because you're so hepped up on cocaine because you're a man. Come on, man. It's a relatively normal thing. I don't know if this is. I don't want to get into generational stuff, but it kind of feels like a bit of a boomer thing. But we're Gen X. We'll probably start doing this ourselves at some point, but I hope not.
Well, I don't anticipate us ever carrying weapons just to our place of work.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about a general idea that the era that you peaked in is the best era. Like I loved what we grew up with when we were little kids. Saturday morning cartoons. We had like the coolest toys, and you look at what they got now. And I'll be honest, if you go to the toy stores these days, they got some pretty cool stuff. They got some pretty well-designed toys out there that I buy for Alabama. And you can find Saturday morning cartoons like all over the place. Kids got YouTube these days. They got like Disney Plus. I mean, that's been awesome. Like me and Alabama, we just sit there looking for movies that she hasn't seen before. And it's great. And things are probably better. But yes, I do have an affinity for the days that I grew up in. And I think a lot of
a hell of a drug, man.
I think, yeah, it is. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap. I don't think The Undertaker's any different. It's a thing that's foreign to him where, hey, back in the day, if you didn't have a gun or a knife in your bag, you weren't a real man. And there is an attitude of toughness, of gritting through things that it just obviously led to, dozens and dozens of wrestlers dying before their day. I don't know why pro wrestling in general sort of attracted that element going so far back. I mean, you could speculate all day long, but to kind of
romanticize that particular period.
It's
like, Hogan not that long ago was talking about how I think he really liked Kevin Owens, but it was like saying, oh, you need to politic more backstage.
Mm-hmm,
well, no, It's different now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure people are ambitious. They want to achieve great levels of success, but I don't necessarily feel like they're willing to do that at the expense of somebody else,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And back then in the Attitude Era, that's all we heard about. Sharks. Everybody going out of the way just to advance themselves to various degrees. Everybody else be damned.
And I'm sure there are wrestlers who still do the same thing, who politic. And maybe it is or maybe it isn't to the same degree as it used to be. I mean, WWE seemed to, if you want to look to anybody, for that stuff, you look at Vince McMahon, who has over the decades clamped down further and further and further on his wrestlers so that, in the words of Ryback, he doesn't want a John Cena, which I think he probably took completely out of, out of context. But they bring in people, I'm not going to use the word, they develop people to do a certain thing that they are looking for, and they all fit in those pieces,
Yeah, but the thing is, too, is when Vince was on the Austin podcast talking about he wanted more people to try to grab that brass ring. But then if you're cast in a certain role and you try to break out of that role, by going off script, by going, you feel an energy in the building and you follow it because you think it's going to lead to great stuff, you could be punished.
Mm-hmm,
like Mox, who at the time when he was Ambrose, WWE, one of the top stars in the whole company.
Yeah, right.
They even told him to stick to the script.
Yeah.
Even though he was just trying to improve his material.
Yeah.
So you want people to go out and grab, as Vince says, grab the brass ring. That means taking chances, and that means potentially upsetting the boss because you think you're trying to do something that's going to work, but then you do that, and at the least you get slapped on the wrist for it.
Yeah.
So I know Vince says that stuff. I think he maybe in his heart of hearts he wants guys with that killer instinct. When someone actually, in probably a far more diplomatic way that it used to be done in years past, tries to do it, no, you can't do that. Sorry.
The quote about, well, these guys on the internet say I'm pretty fucking good, talking about fans or dirt sheets or, maybe even people like us, getting your, again, it's that sort of that old school WWE mentality of, well, the hardcore fans can't be right about anything. And so, why are you listening to that?
There's another thing too. The Undertaker's not going to pay anybody's bills. People, if you read your stuff on the internet and you find out that something works for your audience versus something that doesn't work, guess what? You're going to do what works for the audience because then you'll appeal to said audience and they'll buy your merchandise.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And in a lot of the cases for like these indie wrestlers who are out there, hustling, who set up Patreon, or, obviously, like you said, they're on Pro Wrestling Tees. They're getting, they're out there hustling. They're listening to their audience, responding to what works. And, AEW has made an entire company out of bringing in people who have discovered what works through years and years of figuring it out.
Yeah,
Orange Cassidy wasn't Orange Cassidy 12 years ago or 15 or whenever he got started.
But he found that character, developed the brand around that character, and now he's a really successful professional wrestler.
Yeah. So
is it a comedy thing? Yeah. Does it have a whole lot of edge to it? No. But that's one thing I like about pro wrestling is there's a huge variety. If every match was two crusty old men or crusty men, as he puts it, trying to prove just how tough they are, that gets boring real quick. The Young Bucks historically have been knocked about not being good storytellers in the ring because they don't typically work a body part. We've seen them do that kind of match. What I like about their stories they tell in the ring, it's all about interpersonal dynamics.
Yeah.
Usually much different than what we see anywhere else. It's just all about variety. I mean, if Undertaker just wants everything to be like Mid-South in 1985, guess what, Mark? That's all on WWE Network. Watch to your heart's content.
I love watching that. I'll be honest. There is an element of that stuff that I enjoy to watch. I enjoy to get on the network and see these big beefy guys whose hearts are probably going to explode soon go at it. There isn't, because, it's like, man, there is something about half the people in the audience thinking this shit's real, That ain't how it is anymore, and I don't want to see that in today's. It makes me nervous to see guys like that now. I want the dudes to be and the women to be safe, and I want them to have a happy, healthy, long life. Doing what they're doing. So I don't know, but hey, he's Undertaker. It's always funny. Like, we can sit here and disagree with this stuff all day long with him, but it is always interesting to hear those points of view. Because it's like, of course he's gonna be wistful for his. Days,
I mean, it's like the Rip Rogers thing when he was going in on was it Ospreay and Ricochet or their match, the Best of Super Juniors a few years ago. Yeah, where it's like, well, it doesn't seem like a real fight between two guys that want to beat the hell out of each other. And my response was, so yeah, it's something different from that. It's still choreographed fighting. It's just a way different style of it. It's all about, variety is what really makes, in my mind, pro wrestling. If every match was booked the same, it was just two huge guys throwing
ugly haymakers at each other.
Yawn. I wouldn't be doing this for a living, probably.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'd like him to. You know what a real man would do? Name names. Who do you think is soft, Mark? Who? Just tell us who. Who do you think is soft? Who's too pretty for you, Mark? Who's too pretty? Come on, let's hear it.
I'm putting them all on blast.
We have an awesome ton of gifted subs here from Poker Hooker. Thank you, Poker Hooker.
Thank you so much.
Anyways, let's hop right into our NXT recap.
Do you want to talk about this real quick? Impact. They got a special on Impact Plus, No Surrender, February 13th. That's when the Good Brothers are going to defend their Impact tag titles against Private Party.
That is a bummer because I will not be present for that. I have plans on the 13th because I was not aware of this. It's actually this morning or last night. Lacey, this is a comedy of errors here. She was like, "Hey, What are you doing on the 27th? Do you have work? Because my brother-in-law wants us out for some barbecue in Vacaville, and she's going to get some hair extensions. And I was like, she's very excited about that. And I was like, the 27th is probably AEW Revolution, so I can't. She's like, damn it. So this morning she says, what about the 13th? I was like, that's the day before TakeOver. Perfect. We can do that. And so
Come to find out that apparently Revolution is not happening till March.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And I can't, she just texted me back. She was like, well, it's already set. I was like, yeah. Sometimes you win some, you lose some. You got to know when to hold them, when to fold them. So yeah. Still, that's cool. Private Party versus Good Brothers. That's neat.
Yeah, that is neat.
Yeah.
That is neat.
Anyways, let's hop right into this NXT. For a normal episode of NXT, this felt kind of close to like a themed episode. There was a lot of cool stuff that they were doing. We had the Fight Pit with Thatcher and Ciampa with some surprising for people who don't pay attention, but not surprising for us because we predicted that they were going to be a Dusty Tag Team Classic team, and that ended up happening after this match.
Yeah. Pretty much after their first match, we're like, oh, they're going to be a tag team, aren't they?
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah, exactly. When they started bringing chairs to each other's matches, they're like, oh, they're acting like they don't like each other, but deep down, they're the perfect couple.
They know.
The perfect odd couple.
They have a lot in common.
So there was that. There was the women's bracket of the Dusty Classic.
That
kicked off. That was pretty cool. We had some more men's Dusty Classic stuff. So they crammed quite a little, and we also had a Borat impression as well from.
Yeah,
MSK.
I wasn't anticipating seeing that in NXT in the year 2021, but it was all right.
Did you ever see the second Borat movie? You watched Did you have to pause it at all because of how awkward it is?
No.
I paused it during the debutante ball.
That was very awkward.
That was super awkward, even before the big reveal.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, okay. And then to see how these kids were talking to their dads. Oh my God, freaking rich people, man. But anyways, I thought it was fun. It kicked off with Kushida, and just like Wade Barrett, all my picks for the Dusty Classic, with the exception of Kacy Catanzaro and Kayden Carter, did not go through. We had Kushida and Leon Ruff versus
you
The
thought
Way.
The Way was going to win this.
I thought The Way was going to go all the way, assuming there wasn't a Thatcher Ciampa team. They're completely winning the entire thing.
I kind of hope they buck tradition because that's usually the thing of a toss-together team. More often than not, I think the Authors of Pain won the Dusty Classic.
Yeah, but other than that, it's been Samoa Joe and Finn Balor.
Finn Balor, yeah.
It's been
Riddle and Dunn.
The Broserweights, yeah.
Aleister Black and Ricochet.
Yeah, right.
All former Dusty Classic winners, yeah. Part of me hopes they're like, okay, we had a well-established pattern of this happening, but they don't do it for this one.
Yeah, I think they're totally doing it for this one.
Probably.
But all my other predictions on this side have been wrong, so whatever. Anyways, fun. What am I on your notes? I want my Steve notes. Here we go. Cool. My Steve notes are much smaller than your expansive notes. So anyways,
This is even taking light notes.
This is a fun match, though. I always take longer notes for NXT because I don't have family rolling up in here bugging me and stuff. It's the morning.
On details.
Bama's in school. I'm in school watching NXT. So anyways, this is a fun match. Austin Theory is isolated to start things out. Gargano comes in, stomps some Kushida. This was cool. Austin Theory catching Leon Ruff from the top to his shoulders for a sit-out rack bomb.
Oh, that was good.
I like a good rack bomb. But in the end, let's see here. Gargano was about to go for a super kick. Leon Ruff breaks it up, goes flying into the outside onto Theory, and Kushida locks up Gargano in a weird hold and then hits a fisherman suplex.
It was like he had him in almost like a hoverboard lock suplex type deal.
Yeah.
And he held it right in his arm and pinned him with his arm underneath and got up, and Gargano was like, oh, my arm.
Yeah, that looked rough. So
it did look rough.
Kushida and Leon Ruff move on in the Dusty Classic.
But I guess Gargano could probably take some degree of comfort because when he defends his North American title against Kushida, odds are he's going to successfully defend that considering Kushida's pinned him twice already.
Yeah, he's going to have a long reign. You're right about that.
And next, we had a Peter Dune promo. Oh, do you have more to add about that match?
No, sir.
Oh, he just pretty much calls out Finn Balor, says, hey, we're cut from the same cloth. But Finn, you left. I stuck around in Europe to build an entire brand. You had him constantly compared to Finn. Finn keeps talking about how he doesn't watch the industry. Industry watches him. But Peter Dune says, I know you've been watching me. Our meeting in the ring is inevitable. After that, we had a medical update on Kyle O'Reilly. Re-aggravated his jaw injury, yet medically cleared to compete.
He's good to go. After that, we had a Malcolm Bivens interview. We're starting to see a bit more of, and it's great because it's like we get a little bit more of the comedy stuff with Bivens. And I think him and Rust are going to make a good team because Rust is he's like a really good wrestler, also a tad goofy. And we had some good stuff with them tonight. So we got a Malcolm Bivens interview, and he's waiting to see William Regal. But then Rust comes out of the office, and Bivens is kind of surprised to see him. And he's like, whoa, what's going on? He's like, hey, man, I got here early. Good news. Me and Regal talked. I've got Bronson Reed tonight. And Bivens is like, oh, what? He's like, this isn't the direction I would have gone in, but tonight you're going straight to the top. I like how positive a manager Malcolm Bivens is.
He just said, well, what's done is done.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta, try and make some lemonade there.
Exactly. After that, we had Steve's favorite wrestler, Karrion
bathroom
Kross,
break
versus Ashanti Adonis. He had this cool spot where he did a Northern suplex and did like the Matt Jackson rollover thing, or Ricochet's done that too, right into a Saito suplex.
Yeah, but when Matt Jackson does it, it's so fluid.
Because he's like a foot shorter.
Don't yell at me.
So the ref is checking on Ashanti, and Kross hits him another Saito suplex, forearm to the back for the win. See, when Kross is booked in these type of matches, I enjoy the heck out of it because it's just he just tosses someone around, gets the win done.
It's so even the forearm to the back was like more stumbly than it was last week again.
He's trying to be safe. He's trying not to hurt somebody.
2 weeks ago.
And then Desmond Troy, Ashanti's tag team partner, hits the ring to check on Adonis, and then Kross puts him in the cross jacket, and that writes off Ashanti and Desmond Troy from the Dusty Classic. Think about this match.
Wasn't even that devastating a match. How was he written out of the Dusty Classic?
Man, those Saito suplexes probably hurt, like, for real. You get dropped right in your head. Anything Karrion Kross, you're like,
No, his entrance is really cool.
His entrance is really good.
His entrance is great.
He's got a great Saito suplex. He does.
Scarlett looks like $1 million. He looks like 500,000. He looks pretty decent.
He looks really damn good.
He looks good. And I like his voice. He's got a great voice. And he's got huge facial movements.
Yeah.
But then I see him in the ring, and he's stumbling around and stuff.
I thought this was fine.
Well, I'm glad. That's good.
It achieved the goal. Okay. The goal of this was to write Ashanti Adonis out of the Dusty Cup. Mission accomplished.
Hold on a second. We've stumbled. There we go. Okay.
Because we've talked extensively about Kross, what we consider things that Kross probably needs to work on a little bit. Matches like this, like mask, like 80, 85, maybe 90% of that. Because it's not a whole lot of him running around, have to do any sort of quick
thing.
Well, no, he's doing stuff. I mean, it's not like Adonis got any moves off.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I feel like his explosiveness is when he's doing stuff like the Saito suplex, Northern Light suplex. When he does that, he's explosive. When he has to run around a lot, he looks a bit plodding. So if you don't have him run, he should not, like, Karrion Kross should not run ropes, period.
I wonder if he can.
I'm sure he is trained to be able to do that, but I'm saying for what he does, like, I don't think Matt Riddle runs the ropes, at least in NXT. I remember reading that somewhere.
Yeah, I know Brock doesn't do that.
Yeah, because, they're from an MMA background. That wouldn't make sense.
That looks so weird. That would look really weird for Brock to do that.
So Karrion Kross should be the same thing. He shouldn't be running any ropes. I don't know if he does,
man? I am totally open. I am totally open to doing what Steve does. I turn around on Austin Theory. Really like Austin Theory now. They found him. He's basically Dirk Diggler, and it's amazing. Karrion Kross. I'm totally open to turning around on him. Totally. Put him over on SmackDown. SmackDown knows how to use guys like that. Doesn't belong in NXT. After that, we had a Borat impression from Nash Carter. We actually got some clarification on this, and I'm not a huge fan, I don't know why not, of the Rush Hour movies. I don't think I've seen any of them. Have you seen any of the Rush Hour movies?
I might have seen the first one.
But Carter and Lee are a reference to the Rush Hour movies. This is Smokey and Jackie Chan's characters from the Rush Hour. It's crazy. Isn't it crazy that Chris Tucker never did more than he did?
He had a pretty good run.
He had a great run. And then he just was like, hey, I'm going to do this Rush Hour 3 after not having done a movie in like 5 years. And then I'm just going to sort of just chill.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Still bummed we never got another Friday with him, though. Anyways, so they sort of, Nash Carter talks about throwing off tag teams by using a Borat impression, and Wesley's like, what are you even talking about? And then they just do sort of a hype video for MSK in the Dusty Classic. After that, we had a Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm, of course, tagging in the Women's Dusty Classic, a promo from them where they basically say, we don't need to be friends to win. We don't care if Kacy and Kayden are friends. We don't need to be friends to win. So there you go.
It didn't really work out for them next. Imperium versus Lucha House Party and Dusty Classic action. Fun match. And a bit of an upset. Lucha House Party picking up that clean W over former NXT tag champs Imperium. Still a really fun match, though. And after the bout, after Lindsay pins Marcel Bartel with the shooting star press, Alexander Wolf walks out to the top of the ramp as Eichner and Bartel are starting to walk up it. They do the Imperium pose to each other, but who knows what that really means. Does that mean Walter is coming?
I was sitting here thinking that, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was sitting here writing my notes. I kept on writing down Lucha House Party has the upper hand until, and then they'd keep maintain the upper hand and say, oh, okay, Imperium gets the upper hand. And then, oh, wait, no, Lucha House, and what, they won?
Yeah.
Lucha House Party won this.
Which is great.
Which is awesome, which is great. Lucha House Party should probably stay in NXT, but it's kind of cool they're doing double duty.
And I'm excited to see, because them versus Legado is going to be really good.
That's going to be really good, yeah.
This could be really good. I mean, even when Imperium was on the verge of hitting their finish, I was like, all right, getting ready to write down here Imperium wins with finish. Nope. Let's say,
I know, same.
Escape that. It's pretty crazy.
So next was from earlier in the day. For some reason, they had a weigh-in for the fight pit. I didn't think there was.
I imagine
they
have this before every match. They just don't ever show it. Because remember when Buddy Murphy was in 205 before every one of his matches, he had to weigh in.
But there was a reason for that.
Oh, I understand that, but something tells me that it's one of those things that it's commonplace. They just don't utilize it unless they think it's important for story or something. Because I'm imagining on 205, and a lot of those guys on 205, I felt like were pushing 205 pounds.
Mm-hmm,
that
Buddy
would be a
Murphy
common thing,
not,
especially when there's a weight limit. You know,
dude was not under 204 pounds.
No, he wasn't under 225.
That dude's right arm probably weighs 200. So they're, it was just an excuse for them to brawl a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
After that, Beth Phoenix had a very lovely speech to kick off the Women's Dusty Rhodes Classic. She talked about all the women that came out of NXT and, what a great, the women's evolution and stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. It was really great, and everybody was out there with her. And then they kicked things off with Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm versus Kacy Catanzaro and Kayden Carter. Really, really fun stuff. I'm really glad I really want Kacy and Kayden to go all the way to the finals. I mean, I would suspect it would be them versus Candice and Indy Hartwell, but who knows? Because they're just absolutely. They've been a tag team forever now. Without a real division, because as we know, the women's tag team titles do not very rarely come to NXT.
Yep.
And so they're absolutely terrific, though. Some of their tandem offense is just really, really fun. And then Kacy got to debut this insane Phoenix Splash type senton thing to get the win on Toni Storm, but that's basically because Io Shirai came down, because Mercedes Martinez has been chirping about Io Shirai. Io Shirai came down when the ref wasn't paying attention, laid her out on the table. Toni Storm couldn't get the tag in, or couldn't get her to tag in, and so Kayden Carter and Kacy Catanzaro were able to take advantage of that. That Phoenix Splash senton thing was absolutely great.
I've never seen anything like that before.
And it was terrific. They set it up, and it's like, something really cool is going to happen because of the way they sort of stage it. Like, Kayden Carter sort of drops Toni Storm with, like, sort of like a level.
Yeah, it's like a D-bar type thing.
Yeah. So she sort of gets her down with that, and then Kacy just stands there, and she stands there for a second, and you're like, she's in like a Phoenix Splash position. What's she going to do? And then she does that, but then she turns it into like a senton thing.
Yeah, like a 630 senton thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
crazy.
Really cool.
It was crazy.
Really cool.
That was pretty cool.
I forgot to give this stars. I'm going to give that.
After that, Finn Balor goes in the Regal's office. He says, I want Pete Dunne, but first, I know what he's doing. I want Oni and Danny first. I need to chop off the arms before I go about chopping off the head. Regal says, I get it. I know what you want to do. Still not safe. You got to find yourself a tag partner to take on Lorcan and Birch. Finn says, I have no friends. Those days are gone. Regal essentially says, wah wah, too bad. Get yourself a partner.
Well, he says, you know what they say, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And so he's like, wink, wink, go find one of them dudes you've been beefing with, but maybe not so much.
Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah, it's just Kyle O'Reilly.
So who has a shared interest in beating up Lorcan and Birch.
Exactly. After that, we see Bronson Reed, but there's no audio on it. He's getting some silent advice from Swerve. But then later on, we see what that advice was.
That was a weird touch. Was it a situation where this was live and they forgot to turn the audio on for this segment and they went back because they thought it was important to include it?
That's a possibility. That's a distinct possibility. I just thought it was like, I don't know, like you see the segment itself wasn't abnormal in that you couldn't hear it because it's like, oh, he's giving him some advice. But last we saw them, they were kind of at loggerheads. And then it just turns out Swerve saying, stay out of my business. And I thought for sure he'd be interfering tonight, but that didn't happen.
Nope.
After that, we had an update from Mackenzie Adonis out of the Dusty Classic because of what happened with Killer Kross. And then Kacy and Kayden come through. They interrupt. They're very excited, and they feel
they're winning the whole thing. They're going to win the whole thing.
I hope they do.
I hope so, too.
I hope they do. They're an actual tag team, man. All these other tag teams are just thrown together.
True. After that, Tyler Russ versus Bronson Reed. Tyler Russ didn't really seem to have much of a strategy to begin with because Bronson Reed was just tossing him all over the place. It's a reverse fall-away slam. Russ rolls out of the ring. Bivens like, hey, you got to start using your smarts. Use your brain. And so he starts attacking Reed's arm, drapes over the top rope, starts focusing more and more offense on it. We cut backstage. EO and Tony Storm are brawling. That's getting broken up. Meanwhile, Reed is hitting some strikes to regain advantage. Hits a choke slam, gets 2. Reed goes up top. Russ goes up 2. Tries for a double wrist lock. Reed knocks him off. Russ responds. Actually, a really impressive pump kick. And then does a Samoa drop off the top, gets a 2. He goes for his finish. Reed just stands there, just blocks it. Hits the senton, follows with a splash off the top rope to get the W.
Yeah. Afterwards, Bivens tells Rust, hey, look, man, let me pick your battles for you from now on, okay? So we have an interview with Finn Balor, and he basically says, I got to pick a partner. There's a couple of people here who owe me a favor. And then he said something I couldn't really hear him.
Oh, it's time to have a little chat.
Oh, a chat. That's what he said. Okay.
Yeah, Finn was really mumbly tonight.
I rewound it 3 times, and I was like, I thought he said chat.
Yeah, he was a bit of a low talker today. I don't know what the deal is.
It's like it's a Roman Reigns effect, like, hey, Roman Reigns is doing the low talking thing. I'll try that too. So Finn goes to the locker room and sees the Undisputed Era. I don't know if they're just sitting there silently, if they're about to, play some dice or something. I don't know what they're doing. But anyways, they all stand up and they're like, hey, man, look what the cat dragged in. And he just sort of looks at Kyle and says, Kyle, you know why I'm here. So you in? Or he said, or are you still sucking your meals through a straw? And Roddy says, hey, man, I don't appreciate that. And Cole says, whoa, man, calm down. And then they just sort of stand there and they stare at each other. And then they stare at each other some more. And then they stare at each other some more. And then Kyle says, I'm in. See you next week. And then they stare at each other some more. And then end scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of staring.
There's a lot of staring there. Yeah.
After that, Legado del Fantasma hits the ring. Santos Escobar has a promo. He talks about what it means to be a champion's champion, a true champion.
Great.
Yeah, he says you don't have to conquer a curse like John. You won't have a glass jaw like Finn. John. You don't have to drive around in fancy cars or surround yourselves with pretty women like Karrion Kross. That's pretty ballsy to take on.
I know. I was like don't mention bathroom break.
And he says when they all have to prove themselves, they can't even successfully defend their belt. Being a champ is a heavy burden on their shoulders, but I've beaten everyone that's been in my path.
It's like Flair in the 205 Live division. Get out of here with that.
Lucha House Party has come to NXT to try to destroy his empire. He talks to Wild Mendoza. So they won their first round Dusty Cup match, and that puts them one step closer to being tag champs. And then they can all be champions of champions.
Campeons. And then
Lucha House Party interrupts. Brawl ensues. Legado gets the upper hand. Kurt Stallion runs off Legado and helps Lucha House Party clear the ring.
I wonder if Kurt Stallion's going to make a takeover debut against Santos, or if that's more of an NXT type match.
They're having a match next week.
Oh, they announced that? Okay,
cool. Yeah, during the show.
Question answered then. Look at that. All right. I'll get a chance to look at Kurt Stallion. I don't think I've seen any Kurt Stallion matches yet.
I don't think so either. After that, we had a Drake Maverick, Killian Dane interview. Dane's about to talk. Drake just steps in front of him. Says 2020 was a bad year for Drake, but he's walking to 2021 with an ally, a new friend. Says, I know about MSK, but they're not going to win this thing. We are. And Killian Dane says, yeah, that was pretty good, and slaps the hell out of him on the back.
Ouch.
And Drake says, I still need your phone number.
Still need your phone number, man.
And this is when Legado, Lucha House Party, and Kurt Stallion, they're all like John backstage being kept apart, and then that's when Santos says, I could destroy you now, but I'm going to embarrass you again next week, Kurt Stallion, with the title on the line.
Oh, okay. I must have looked away or something because I did not see that. After that, we had the main event. Unless I missed something else. That's right? Okay. Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher in the fight pit.
They just announced the matches for next week. That's all.
I freaking love Thatcher. He's quickly become my favorite guy. He's so
more than
great.
Walter?
It's those two guys. Walter's so good, too. I can't wait.
Yeah, Walter's the best.
I'm watching some UK later on today.
There you go.
So yeah, they sort of meander about on the top level for like 5 minutes or so. We get some submissions, some suplexes, some strikes. During the picture-in-picture commercial, though, Thatcher, sort of on the wrong end of a lot of this stuff, starts to climb down. And as he starts to climb down, Ciampa puts his foot on his hand and then stomps it so that he kind of falls the rest of the way. Ciampa does climb down. Down below, Thatcher takes over. He uses the cage's corner to work Ciampa's hand. So Ciampa's got a busted hand for much of the remaining of the match. Ciampa takes back over. He seesaws Thatcher into the cage, gets an ankle lock, but Thatcher's able to come back, gets a sleeper hold on. Ciampa, to get out of the sleeper hold, kicks him in the nuts. And then this was kind of interesting. So at one point, the ref sort of stumbles over, and Ciampa's able to drape Thatcher on the ref.
Thatcher is starting to climb over the ref to get at Ciampa, and then Ciampa, DDTs him off.
Locks it in, does the Willow's Peak, Willow's Bell draped over the ref, which is pretty cool. Thatch gets up, though, to beat the 10 count. They trade blows. Ciampa hits a fairy tale ending and then grabs Thatcher in a sleeper, but Thatch is able to maneuver up and rams Ciampa into the cage. He gets a sleeper on, and then he sort of wedges Ciampa in the corner, so Ciampa's leg is sort of trapped. And so he puts him in kind of, they call it a modified stretch muffler. And so he's able to crank that leg against the whatever it's trapped in with the cage. And so Ciampa taps out pretty quickly. And then Thatcher lets go and gets the win. Awesome win for Thatcher. He's undefeated there in the fight pit. And then on the .com afterwards, Thatcher is leaving. And the interviewer says, I don't know, some generic question. He says, hey, how are you feeling? And Thatcher's like, yeah, I'm okay. He's like, I'll let you know when I can start to get the feeling back in my arm or whatever. And then you hear from behind him, Ciampa says, hey, dude, you had my leg. I tapped out. You let go. You didn't break it. Why? Because, obviously Thatcher taking liberties. That's his thing. And he just looked down and he said, respect. And he walks off, and Ciampa says, hey, there's a spot open in the Dusty Classic. How about it? You and me. Thatcher doesn't give an answer. He just sort of looks down and he walks away. Then on Twitter, William Regal says, yeah, that's happening. You guys are in the Dusty Classic, taking the spot of the Adonis and Destroy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Looking good for Thatcher and Ciampa.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun team to watch, man. That's gonna be a fun team to watch. Who do they have first in the
Tony Nese and I think Daivari?
Oh, okay.
And then after that, I think it's Kushida and Leon Ruff.
Oh, okay.
Right. Undisputed Era. I think
it's Undisputed Era then. Yeah.
I think
okay.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be. I'm
the
pretty sure
again.
they're at the top of the bracket, and then Kushida and Leon Ruff takes on. Is it Dane and Drake Maverick?
No, they're on the other side.
No, they're on Legado. They're fighting Legado.
No, Lucha House Party is fighting Legado. I have some of them here because they announced the matches for next week. MSK versus Drake and Dane.
Right.
Grizzled Young Veterans taking on Kushida and Ruff.
Oh, that'll be. Oh man, we're gonna get a Grizzled Young Veterans versus Thatcher and Ciampa semifinal. Oh, that's good.
Steve is excited.
Oh, I'm super excited. Zach Gibson and Thatcher in the same. Oh,
wow. Can Steve handle that much excitement?
Soon. We'll find out soon.
You want to answer some questions?
Yeah, I got a thread up here on the Patreon, and I'm sure there's plenty of questions here in the live Twitch chat.
There are. Poker Hooker with the sub. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Poker Hooker was all over our Twitch chat today. Thank you very much. Colin Branch says, what should be the first title match in the fight pit, man? I say Gargano versus Thatcher for the North American title in the fight pit. I think that'd be great.
I think that would be great as well. That would be fantastic. CST, what is this name? I don't know what this name is. I'm sorry. Something leather. I apologize. What would you call Kacy's move? I think it's the reverse floating bro with 630. It's kind of what it is, but like with a couple extra spins in there.
Dude, I mean, at that point, you just name it after yourself, right? Like you just, the I don't know, Kacy bomb or something like that. I don't know. It's crazy.
Tyler the Savior says, why is Karrion Kross look like he has cinder blocks on his feet?
Just stumbles around.
He doesn't have quick feet. That's what I'm saying. That's why he shouldn't be running at all.
Yeah,
he's got plenty of power and explosiveness in his upper body.
It's like that Monty Python sketch. I don't think he's got much explosiveness at all in any part of his body.
He's got a great Saito suplex.
He's got an okay Saito suplex.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I'll let it go. Jaime Fonseca, I'm not going to let it go. Would you rather have a fight pit pay-per-view or a Raw Underground pay-per-view? For the spectacle of it all, I'd rather have a Raw Underground pay-per-view because it would just be like a 3-hour stream of consciousness pay-per-view that's just sort of.
Well, here's the thing.
It's sort of moderated by Shane McMahon.
It'd be booked for 3 hours. It'd only probably last about 40 minutes because Shane would just be like, all right, match over, done.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. It would be all the matches would just bleed into each other because of Shane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one's done. Now I want you versus you. Okay, you go at it. And then meanwhile over here, Shane's a mess.
Yeah. Ed Fry says, I was worried Kacy was going to land on her shoulders or head. Nope.
Oh, I'm sure she's done that a ton of times on the old crash pads.
Yep.
Do we know, are her and, this is not to be like gossipy or anything, are her and Ricochet still a thing? Because that was a very Ricochet-y move, and I wonder if there is collaboration there,
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Like, let's see what the craziest thing you could possibly do is.
Again, I think so, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Ed Fries, Wade Barrett buried 205 by asking who Kurt Stallion was.
Well, it's a good question to ask because he's only been on, 205. I mean, I don't watch 205 anymore. I'll get there. I've added NXT UK, all of New Japan. I'll get to 205, damn it.
All right, very well. Night by night, you've decided that your home needs a fresh look. What NXT superstars do you hire to update your interior design? Let's take Breezango out of it.
Zach Gibson, because he's got, a good feel for, I'm a big, Anglophile. I'm a big British, hey, bring some Liverpudlian accents to my house, Zach Gibson. Steve, your house is trash. You've got no culture. Wow, Zach.
Who's got the best looking merch in NXT?
Nobody.
Oh, I'll have Santos Escobar. He's always got great looking
That's
clothes.
A good one. Their merch is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Bronson Reed has some cool like design aesthetics with all the monster stuff.
Yeah. White Brownie, Final Four for Rumble. Pick 1 from Raw, 1 from SmackDown, and 2 from NXT for both the men and women's Rumble.
I need a piece of paper right here. I'm going to jot it down on Steve notes. All right. So what? What is it? How many do we need?
4. Final 4 for the Rumble. 1 from Raw, 1 from SmackDown, 2 from NXT. In both.
All right. NXT. And then. And then let's see here. And then Raw, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do... who do I like on Raw these days? All right, there we go.
All right, what do you got?
All right, so 2 men from NXT. I got Pete Dunne and Adam Cole Bebe.
Good.
Who do you got?
Well, for the men, I have Dunn. I have Gargano.
Okay, that's cool. That's good.
From NXT, from Raw, I have AJ Styles.
I got Brock Lesnar.
Okay, and then from SmackDown, I got Daniel Bryan.
Samesies.
All right, so women. So let's just name all 4. So I got Charlotte from Raw, Bayley from SmackDown, and then Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley from NXT.
You got Raquel Gonzalez and who?
Rhea Ripley.
Oh yeah, because technically she's still NXT. Yeah. Okay, I like Raquel, Rhea Ripley. That's a good one. But I went with Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez, and then Bayley and Alexa Bliss. Let's see here. What are the questions we have here? We already talked about that. Jaime Fonseca. Who goes over in a fatal 4-way fight pit match? Larson, Steve, Hilton, or Luchando?
I feel like Luchando and Hilton kind of cancel each other out.
Well, yeah, this is a triple threat match is what you're talking about.
No, they'll just fight each other the whole time and take each other out.
Neither you or I like heights.
No.
Can we, gentlemen's agreement, to go down to the fight pit first, like before anybody touches anybody?
Okay.
Let's go to the ground.
Sure.
And then at that point, it's an ugly, ugly slapping fight where we both probably throw out our necks and our backs.
Rest holds, probably vomit because we get so tired.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be nasty.
I mean, at that point, I think we're probably end up just both down past the 10 count.
Yeah, the true losers are whoever has to watch that garbage because it's going to be a terrible match.
Right, exactly. But we get paid for it, so we win.
There you go. Rocco, hey guys, do you think we're missing out on out-of-the-box talent considering that Triple H is not a fan of Punk and Punk single-handedly brought people back into wrestling? Rocco brings up Rick Booge. Where has he been?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what, the few matches I've seen Rick Booge in. I mean, he moves better in Kross. He's got tons of charisma. We don't know the full story of what goes on at the Performance Center.
Totally.
We don't.
Here's the other thing I can think of. Like his air drumming, air guitaring thing is fun. There's a ceiling to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And granted, that hasn't stopped NXT from putting people out there on TV before. Gimmicks with obvious ceilings to it. But maybe just someone, maybe it's Triple H, maybe it's someone else in the training structure there just thinks, yeah, he's got tons of energy, he's got potential in the ring. We need to find a character for him that doesn't have such a ceiling on it.
That's a distinct possibility. I don't know. You would think that they'd be able to incorporate all that stuff as an accoutrement, as, sort of just an aspect of his personality, as opposed to Elias, where, his thing was, I'm a Subway singer guy. That was his thing. With Booge, I think that, man, that guy could probably bring a heck of a lot more than just the air guitar stuff. I mean, I've seen some of his Instagram stuff. He's a hell of a talker. Like the guy, he's
doing squats while playing Metallica songs.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also been like before that. I don't know. I haven't looked at his stuff lately, but like I think it was when I went to the Performance Center and I saw one of his promos because like him and what was her name, MJ
Jenkins.
Jenkins, thank you. They were doing like little live promo sessions for the tour to walk through. And I was like, well, who is this guy? So I looked him up on social media, and he would talk about fitness stuff a lot on his social media, on his Instagram stories. And he's a very engaging speaker. I don't know why they wouldn't have found anything for him. You can only sit here and speculate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Let's see here. Jason the Cabbie. That's a name I've not seen in a little while. Says, haven't watched NXT yet because work schedules are crazy. So here's something more Ask Steven Larson-ish. What is the best horror franchise of all time? And he says, why is the correct answer Nightmare on Elm Street? That is actually my answer as well. Again, because of nostalgia, that Freddy was my dude growing up. Since then, I think maybe... I don't really have a better answer than that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. Is Friday the 13th versus Halloween?
Most horror movie franchises that go beyond just like a handful of movies, it's wildly uneven. You know, like the good ones are pretty good, but the bad ones are really bad.
Yeah, I mean they're not the most popular, but I actually have enjoyed. In terms of story, in terms of movies that have ideas that are so effed up that don't go beyond a certain point. Hostel and the Human Centipede franchises do some really, really effed up things without having to resort to the kind of stuff that you see, for example, in like Serbian film, which like I read a little bit about, and I'm like, nope, not gonna even come close to touching something like that.
Nope.
So yeah, I would go with those two. But yeah, when I was a kid, Freddy was my dude. I thought that stuff was like, that guy was fucked up, and on top of that, you go to sleep and then he fucks with you. Ooh.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
that's really
scary
stuff.
I love sleep.
Yeah, sleep's the best. Jorge D. with People Magazine confirming that David Krumholz was on WWE. What other random celebrity would you like to see without WWE mentioning it is them?
An Andy Griffith hologram.
Interesting.
Like Matlock representing Otis in court.
Okay.
That's what I want to see.
Okay. If the Rosebuds were still around, I'd like to see the entire cast of the reboot of Ocean's 11 as Rosebuds.
That's good. I thought you were going to say
Pitt,
the cast of Match Game 73.
Yeah,
Brett Summers,
Charles
Nelson Riley.
Yeah. Richard Dawson,
yeah. Betty White. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Dog authority figure, Timothy Thatcher.
You know, Match Game 76, I think, was always my year. So.
Oh, what? Yeah. Timothy Thatcher versus Dan Severn versus Steve Blackman versus Ken Shamrock in a fight pit. Who wins? Is this a shoot? If it's a shoot,
then it's Dan Severn.
It's Dan Severn.
It's Dan Severn. Dangum Q, Priscilla Kelly said she named herself Gigi Dolan on Instagram.
Okay, yeah, I read that wrong.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out, I read about that this morning. Gigi Dolan is a great name, and to be honest, I like it better than Priscilla Kelly. Gigi, I'm really curious to know if she, because, you know, her and Darby Allin were married. I think they split, but they remained friends. If I read their Instagrams correctly, who knows how that goes with young lovers. But Darby Allin, the spelling of Allin makes me think it's a Gigi Allin thing. Is she taking Gigi to be the other half of the Darby Allin name as a shout out? That'd be really kind of cool. And I was trying to figure out what the reference to Dolan would be, because a lot of the times, you know, they're asked, hey, come up with a name that isn't your name. Like Finn Balor got to choose his name. A lot of people get to do that. And I wonder if she came up with where the Dolan comes from.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a great name, though. Gigi Dolan.
It's a good name. Crossface Chicken Stain, has there been any other wrestlers who had a good record in their own match type like Thatcher? Undertaker has a really good record in Hell in a Cell matches, doesn't he?
Yeah, Night by Night here confirms Priscilla Kelly's actually her real name. So, anyways, I apologize. What's that?
Has there been any other wrestlers that had a good record in their own match type like Thatcher has?
Oh,
I said Undertaker has a really good record in Hell in a Cell, I think.
Matt Hardy with the
deletions.
Deletions, yeah. I think
he
he's
lost.
a perfect record, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. I think you're right. Gareth Nicholas, who would you like to see in an NXT women's fight pit?
I guess at this point it'd be Mercedes Martinez. She has sort of the most MMA-ish type thing going on.
I mean, her versus Shayna would be great.
It'd be terrific.
That type of match.
If Jessamine Duke, you know, if they started pushing her, if they brought her back, that'd be cool to see her in there.
Oh, wow. The intern. Which wrestler drinks the most energy drinks?
Of all time, it seems like it was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Now?
Mojo.
Oh, yeah, that's a good answer. Let's see here. Rain Trigger. We've had this question before, but there's been some turnover since then. He asks, who would you put in a newly formed Balor Club? I put Bronson Reed in there.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, Bronson Reed. And... where's Killian Dane from?
Northern Ireland, I think.
Is it? Okay.
I think.
I don't know dynamics. I don't know regional dynamics enough to know if that would be a fit.
I think they bill him from Belfast.
Oh, yeah. The Belfast. Yeah.
Yeah, Northern Ireland. Okay.
Yeah, I'd give him 2 giant men. I'd give him Bronson Reed and Killian Dane.
Well, give him Bronson Reed. He needs a tag team.
Yeah, Killian Dane.
And Drake Maverick.
Okay, now how about their tag team, Killian Dane and Bronson Reed, and then another singles guy. Oh, and then Thatcher.
All right.
You know what I'd like to see? Finn Balor and the Grizzled Young Veterans.
That'd be good.
See how quickly Zach Gibson gets on his nerves.
Oh, like immediately. He wouldn't last a night, man.
He wouldn't last one get-to-know-you dinner.
Soon,
I want
appetizers
soup.
will arrive.
Soup, not salad, and plenty of steak.
Oh man, Dark Dank Lucha. When are you two friendos going to collab with KB and Queen of the Ring for a watch along of both Lucha Underground and Unsolved Mysteries?
Oh, dude.
Steve is basically completely and totally unfamiliar with Lucha Underground. You know of it, but you haven't really watched a lot of it.
I think I've seen like a couple of the little cinematics that they did.
Yeah.
I think I've seen a couple of those things.
I watched all of season 2. Season 2 was good.
I'm sure it was. I mean, everybody talks so highly of it. I'd love to watch it now, like, you know, and see all the people that have moved on to cool stuff. Yeah, no, I don't know. We need more collaborations. Absolutely. True. And dude, I'm down to solve mysteries with anybody. If anybody wants me and the Enforcer, dude, we'll solve mysteries with anybody. We welcome the input. We want to find some fortunes, really. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buried treasure.
Buried treasures.
Sunken ships.
Well, I don't know about water. But like, yeah, mainly buried treasure.
All right.
That's what our deal is. Or even better, inheritance, like lost inheritances. People who died left a lot of stuff, but nobody claimed it. That's better because it's no work. It's just, hey, let me do a 23andMe thing. Send it to the Unsolved Mysteries.
There is some work. You got to spit in that tube and send it off and cross your fingers. There's at least some connection there.
I've already done that, though. Like, I'm on 23andMe. I have done that. And so all I'd have to do is like load up my profile, send it over there, and then collect my fat check. And go to Arby's.
Crossface Chicken Stain. This is a good question. Walter, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and Aleister Black. Power rank who would you like to see in the fight pit?
Walter, Samoa Joe, Aleister Black.
I think at their prime, Samoa Joe might be tops.
Yeah. How about this?
Right now, it's probably Walter.
It's this. Walter versus Perk Angle. That's what I want to see. I want to see Perk Angle jump from one side of fight pit to the other. Do a flip from one side on the top to the other side.
There you go. Patrick Oliva says Walter versus Ilya rematch if it happens. If it happens, needs to be in fight pit.
That'd be, if Thatcher was the guest ref, that'd be rad.
That'd be something else, man.
Hey Ilya, let's do fight pit match. All right.
Rozzy Knight wants to know if we're getting any Unsolved Mysteries this week.
Yeah, dude. As long as the Enforcer is down, then I am absolutely down. Gonna say, you want to do solve some mysteries with this dude?
When?
Saturday night, 9 p.m.
I can't Saturday now.
Okay, that's cool. Well, the offer's always open. Saturday nights, 9 p.m. We're going to solve some mysteries.
My wife and I are so close to finishing season 2 of The Boys.
Oh, shit. You've lapped us. Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah, it is. Do you see what I'm saying? Like with how it's a cynical, it's a dark-ass show.
Well, it's cynical, but it's hyper-violent.
It is hyper-violent in like the messed up, in like really messed up ways.
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of iffy on it until the episode on when Homelander and Queen Maeve got on the airplane, and after that I was like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
totally get it now.
Yeah, I've heard. I never read season 2 of. Or I'm sorry. I never read in book form, like where they went to season 2. I think I only read a couple issues of that because Garth Ennis is like one of my favorite writers. He wrote Preacher, and I've heard that I think season 2 of The Boys elevates it beyond the comic book, like makes it a little bit better. So that's
season
cool.
2's been really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I need
There's
to
been a couple episodes where I'm like, oh gosh.
I know. It's
pretty heavy
The
stuff.
one, dude, yeah. Man, we can talk about it. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Twitch chat, stick around. We'll hang out for a bit. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.